On today's podcast, I had Adrian Hernandez on. Adrian is one of the very few people I've ever met that wanted to be in real estate ever since a young age. He talks about his journey of a 16-year-old, like writing it down that he wanted to own a brokerage in Orange County and have the top producing real estate team. He ended up accomplishing that only to find out that it actually wasn't what he wanted. It's a really cool story of how he talks about that transition to going to becoming an investor and a wholesaler and building up a rental portfolio. He also goes over what it was like being a 19-year-old in the industry and how he had to do things that others weren't willing to do. He talked about how he was spending hours every single day memorizing his scripts. He was knocking 100 doors a day, and how learning all of those things along the way just built up all of his skills that he has today and really helped him become a master of real estate. And it's really cool to just see how far he's come and what kind of big goals he has now. So I think you guys are going to really enjoy this podcast. And if you are in an expensive market like Southern California and you've been kind of hesitant to get into real estate because you think it's too expensive or there's too much competition, I think his story is going to help you realize that that's not necessarily true and that you can do it today at a very high level. So that being said, let's jump into it.
Welcome to the Ryan Pineda Show, where our mission is to invest,
I only expect to make money in things that I understand.
innovate,
It's about believing in the future and thinking that the future will be better than the past.
and inspire.
I am much more likely to hit my goal just due to putting it out there.
You're now rocking with the best.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ryan Pineda Show. Today, I've got a man out in SoCal lighting it up, and I want to have him on mainly because of three things. One, he's in the Future Flipper All-Star program. He's absolutely killing it. Two, him and I just golfed at my first annual golf mastermind, which was a lot of fun, even though his golf game needs a little bit of work. But three, I see a lot of people who are trying to get into real estate, and they're like, oh, I'm in California. I'm in some high price market. There's no way I can compete. And this guy is proof that it can happen. He did over $2 million last year in wholesale and flip, and he's absolutely crushing it, dude. What's up, Adrian?
Yeah, well, I'm excited to be on the show, man. Thank you.
I know, dude.
It's
So
an exciting time.
it was fun golfing yesterday. What'd you think yesterday, dude?
Well, the first thing I thought was I need to hire a coach, golf coach, right? I got to get a lot better there.
Yeah.
But overall, man, it was it's a good reminder to put yourself into bigger rooms, right? It's a good reminder to really understand the importance of thinking bigger, surrounding yourself with bigger thinkers, right?
Yeah.
Because that think tank that we did, that was it 30 minutes of really focused understanding where we're going, was massive, dude. So that was awesome. It was a really good time.
Yeah, for those of you listening, like, what are you even talking about? I put this out a couple of months ago. I had this random idea. I go, hey, you know what? I'm going to get 10 people who've made over $1 million last year and put them in a room. We're going to golf for 2 days. We're going to mastermind after golf for like 4 hours and just see what happens. And I think everyone had some pretty good feedback. It was a lot of fun.
It was. The moment I saw it, I'm like, dude, we're going. It was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
So, dude, you've been in real estate for a while. You're 30 years old now, and you're in SoCal market. What part?
So we live in Orange County, but we sell in San Bernardino County, LA County, not so much Orange County, Riverside County.
Okay. And you were telling me, like, your journey started when you were 19.
Yeah, got in the business at 19 years old. Actually started off as a transaction coordinator for my father when I was 16.
Oh.
So my parents were in the business. My uncle was a big mortgage guy back in the 06, 07 days. And I got to see what real estate could do for you. So in high school, I'd always had a vision that I was going to be in real estate. I actually had an English teacher who gave us an assignment, and it was a vision letter. This was my junior year, and I wrote a vision letter saying that I'm going to own a real estate office in Southern California at the beach. Mind you, I'm 16 at the time, and I'm making this declaration. We had to do a presentation for everybody, and I show up with the original loan applications, and I pass them all out to the class. I had no idea what I was talking about, right? But it was cool because that sparked some inspiration. And when I turned 19 years old, I got into real estate, started doing telemarketing, went from telemarketing to being an assistant, from being an assistant to being an agent. And it was cool because right when I became an agent, I learned some really good routines, some really good rituals that helped me completely crush everybody that was in our office. I mean, we had people that were in the business 30 years, 35 years, doing 30 deals a year, $20 million in volume, $40 million in volume. And I came in within 3 years and just completely
You got them.
took them all out. Yeah, it was awesome.
So a couple of things you said there that are interesting is one, you always wanted to be in real estate.
Always.
That's so weird,
Yeah.
dude. Like there's because you and I are almost the same age. So it's like I didn't know one person who was like, yeah, I want to be a real estate agent or I want to be an investor. Like nobody wanted to do that. And my mom was in the business. She's been a realtor for 30 plus years. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to play baseball or I want to like do something. So it's funny to hear. I think you might be the first person to ever say that. But it's cool.
Yeah.
And I think it is changing a little bit with YouTube and stuff. Cause back then when you and I were in high school, there was no YouTube just got started and nobody was like, there were influencers or these people. But now I do get a lot of 16-year-olds who hit me up and they're like, dude, I want to be a real estate investor. And I'm like, I could see that now.
Right.
But back then it was super rare.
Yeah, nobody really knew about it. I was just grateful to be around it because my family and my uncle crushed it. He really planted the seed that real estate could give you a pretty good lifestyle.
What made you even want to do it? Was it the money?
Yeah. Just
You're
straight
like,
up.
I just want to make money.
It was the money, dude. It was the lifestyle. It was seeing, he had the biggest house in the family. He had all the nice cars, and I'd always liked the nice things, right? So I was like, well, if I want that, then I got to do that.
Yeah,
and
here's the path.
It was interesting, though, because right when I graduated from high school was when the market crashed.
Right.
So my mom was completely against me getting into real estate. And so I actually went into firefighting. I was getting my EMT. I remember driving to my EMT test, and I'm like, dude, I'm not doing this. I had went and volunteered at a fire station. They made us scrub brass all night. And I was like, I'm not doing this. So I went right back into what the vision was when I was 16.
What's funny about that is I also thought I was going to be a firefighter. And I went and got my EMT basic. Yeah. So I graduated and everything. And then during my rounds with the firefighters, I spent like 60 hours riding with the paramedics, the firefighters, spending time in the ER, and I even watched babies get born. I witnessed like 5 births that day. I was like, this ain't for me, guys. Like, I'm not about this life.
I did my clinicals at a ER in where I lived. Dude, I couldn't do it.
I just didn't have the stomach for it.
Yeah, me neither. So, and I also saw when you look back at what the vision was, it was always in the back of my mind, dude. And every time I was in class, I wasn't the best student, right? So I couldn't really focus. It was hard for me to focus. And in the back of my mind, it was just get into real estate.
Right.
So it was interesting how it happened.
So you get in, you said within a couple of years, you like pass all these people. I mean, you're barely old enough to drink. Like how did you do it?
Yeah, it was all based on routine. So I was lucky to have some great coaches early on. And one of the first thing was establish a great morning routine, right? So I was a little insane about it. So I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I was at the gym immediately, right? Just straight to the gym. I was at the gym till about 5:36, and I would get home and I would practice scripts for an hour and a half in the morning. And then I would get on role play calls every single day until 8:30. I was in the office by 7:30. By 9 o'clock, I was on the phone till from 9 to 1. From 1 to 4, I would go hit the doors. And then from 4 to 7, I would host an open house. And I was doing this every single day. It was either that or I was at the doors knocking 100 doors every single day. And so the way I saw it was we have these agents that have been in this business. They're crushing it, but I noticed they walk into the office at 9 o'clock in the morning, maybe 10. And by the time they actually get working, it's 1 o'clock after they've gone to lunch and had a few drinks, and yet they're still producing. And so I would see them walk in, and in my mind I said, you know what? I'm just going to show up before they do, and I'm going to make sure that I work 10 times harder than they do. So if they leave at 5, then I'm leaving at 6. If they're leaving at 7, then I'm going to be the last guy in the office, and I'm going to be the first guy in the office every single time. And with that, it established some really good morning routines. It established some skill set routines that I still follow till this day. A lot of it was affirmations. I think the biggest struggle I had was believing that it was really possible, right? So there were affirmations that I would say to myself every single morning that I still say to till this day that really helps me, right? Like right before I walk in here, I now demand my subconscious mind to direct me in helping as many people as possible today, to better their lives by giving me the strength, the persuasion, the bravery, the humor, whatever it takes to get these people to change their lives now. I say that to myself over and over and over again, right? I noticed that it created a belief, and I started radiating this energy. And other agents in the office were like, dude, what are you doing?
This
man?
guy's a nut.
How are you doing this, right? And you know what was even crazier? We got to the point where we were doing role play calls at 4:30 in the morning. So I would get a call, dead asleep, and they would say, number 6 on the expired script, go. And I would have to say the script or else I owed $100, right?
Wow.
And dude, it was my wife. She was not my wife at the time, my girlfriend at the time, but I had laminated scripts all in my shower. And she was like, what is wrong with you? But then 3 years later, she understood like, oh, wow, they really help because now these objection handlers just fly off my tongue. I don't even have to think about them. There's the scripts that I was used to stumble over, that I had a hard time connecting with people. Now it was super easy because I learned the real estate conversation. I learned how to communicate with people to get to the point much quicker.
Right.
Where before it was rambling on and hoping that I would get a deal.
Right.
Right. So that helped me get deals faster, helped me cut the curve in half. And I did that for 5 years. 5 years.
5 years. So let me touch on this real quick. Everyone knows I'm a big proponent of morning routine. In the Wealthy Way, we talk about that a lot. Like that's one of the most powerful things that I started doing about 5-6 years ago that's drastically changed how I do everything. So for those of you who want to know, you can go to wealthyway.com and get all of that stuff for free. Course, planner, we got a ton of cool stuff. But what's interesting you brought up is you knew that these guys were already established. They already had their book of business. They had a name. They had already gone through all the years of learning their own sales training and stuff. So it's like, you know, they're pretty content with what they're doing, right? But you as a 19-year-old kid, you have no way to really fast track the things that you're talking about. Like for you to become a better salesperson and handle objections, there's no book you can read and all of a sudden you're just good.
Right.
It's literally repetition over and over again.
Yep.
And you cannot fast track it. And so the only way to fast track it is just to do it more.
Yeah, that's it.
So if somebody's like, yeah, Adrian, you know, role play for an hour a day and you'll be good in the next few years. You're like, nah, I'm gonna role play for like 8 hours a day.
Yeah. And how can I cut that curve in half? Because they say mastery is what, 10,000 hours?
Right.
Right. So when I heard that, I remember hearing that early on. I forgot what book it was in. So I just said, how do I get to 10,000 hours as fast as possible?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think there's so many things that you cannot fast track. It's just takes time and repetition.
Yeah.
You know, I learned that in baseball. Like, man, if I wanted to become a better hitter, I just needed to, you know, see more pitches and hit against different, you know, everything. But I will say this, as I've gotten older, you know, I tell new people, especially if they're like 19, like you were, like, hey, for sure, just get on the phone, cold call, dial, do what you got to do, go knock 100 doors. Like, that stuff is good. Is it the most efficient way to get things done now? No. Like, you know, you don't do that anymore.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason why, you know, you're coming to the golf because
Right.
you were like, yo, how do I become more efficient now? Like,
Right.
But you did have to put in the work first.
Yeah.
You could not just jump straight to that. And I've been thinking about this a lot with my own golf game, actually, not even business or anything else, because I'm like, man, okay, if I want to become a good golfer, I do know this 10,000 hour rule. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, is there a way to do this better? Can I, like, instead of it taking 10,000 hours for a normal person, can my practice be so good and so focused and dialed in that I could do it in a third of the time?
Right.
And I do believe there is an element of that. I think that 10,000 hour rule is for sure like a general basis.
Right.
Some people take 20,000 hours. Some people take 5,000. It just really depends on your focus during that time.
Yeah.
So how good was your focus?
And that, you know, you said that yesterday when we were all sitting down around the table. You said that I didn't really, that was the first time I heard it that way. Because in my mind, I thought it was more swings, right? Put baseball, just 1,000. As Kobe said, 1,000 free throws every single morning, right?
Right.
I don't think at the beginning, yes. But then I noticed I plateaued. And I plateaued because I didn't evolve. I was doing the same thing. I wasn't, the things that I was practicing, the focus really wasn't, it wasn't blinders because I already kind of knew it. So when it was just going through the motions.
Right.
And I also believe that there are certain things that we practice, like as you're saying with focus, but I think there's also certain things that we practice the wrong way and or practice the wrong things.
Yep.
Because now I'm having to unlearn a lot of the shit that I was taught.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's hard work. It's like, highly labor intensive.
Yeah.
Where I look at stuff like you're doing, and it's not as labor intensive. So
It's focus intensive.
And how do I get better at that, right? So now in my mind, it's okay. Now it's let's focus on the things that are going to bring us the most efficiency, things that's going to make us the most efficient, the things that's going to hyper speed things that are, I would say, not automated, but to the point where you're not having to grind so much.
Yeah, I think there's that saying, work harder or smarter, not harder, is like very true as you start to progress in your career, because whatever got you to the point you're at doesn't get you to the next level. Right. And so it's like, yeah, you could continue to knock 100 doors a day, but you're going to keep doing what you do. Essentially, you'll plateau, to your point. And when you think about this, and this is why I think I could fast track the 10,000 hours, is because when you think about, okay, if I'm going to delegate or allocate 10,000 hours towards this activity, okay, let's say it's basketball. Use the thing of Kobe, right? Kobe already had natural talent. Like, he was going to already do way better than somebody else practicing 10,000 hours just because he's naturally more gifted. So you got to understand that. The world ain't fair. Some people are going to pick it up way quicker because they're just naturally good at it. But, if Kobe is learning to play basketball for the first time as a kid, I would imagine the first thing he started doing was learning to dribble, right? So he learns to dribble. Once he mastered dribbling, he then started shooting. He's like, okay, I'm going to hit free throws, right? Because that's the easiest shot, right? Once he masters free throws, then he says, okay, I'm going to go for 3-pointers. Starts hitting threes, right? Now he's got this pretty good game. Maybe he works on, Kobe didn't work on his passing, but he saved that for way later. That's like putting in golf. We're like, we don't need that.
Figure it out later.
Yeah. But then he probably started working on his one-on-one moves, his fadeaway, his other stuff, like the more mastery type stuff.
Right.
And so that's what I see happening for anybody in any business, is like, you start off learning the fundamentals because you have to. You have to be able to dribble to play basketball.
Right.
You have to know the basic fundamentals of shooting. And the quicker you can learn those, the quicker it allows you to get to the finer technique type deals of the fadeaways, the cross, the step backs, the whatever you're doing, passing. And I've just seen that way with golf. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think I could fast track it because I see, okay, for me, the most important thing is iron play. If you can hit your irons really well, you're going to be like pretty good at golf really quick. And they always say, like, after you figure out your irons, then you got to work on your short game because that's where you're cutting strokes. And it's like, it's true. But right now, until my iron game is so good, it doesn't matter if I'm never on the green putting.
Right.
And so I think anyone listening, you have to think about your business and anything you're doing that way. It's like, if I'm entering a brand new industry, what are the first things, the fundamentals, the scripts, the sales calls? Those are the fundamentals, right?
Right.
Okay, now how do I develop the finer points and, move beyond just the fundamentals? Because if I just keep practicing dribbling over and over again, it's probably not a good use of my time.
Right.
All you need to do is maintenance. Like Steph Curry, you go watch him, his dribbling routine, it's tight, but it's not like he's doing that 3 hours a day anymore.
Yeah.
He did to learn to have to do that, but now he's like, maintenance, 10 minutes, freaking boom, we're good.
Yep.
And he's just in maintenance mode.
There's a quote in the Bible. It says, what got you to Egypt won't take you to the promised land. And I think that happens a lot with us in business. What got us to where we're at will not take us to the next level. It's a whole new skill set, right? Yep. It's a whole new set of thinking, rituals, practicing. So it's interesting because I see 8 real estate agents, especially agents that have gotten into that rhythm of just cold calling and just door knocking. I notice that they get stuck there because they never want to learn something new. It's hard for them to transfer over.
Right.
And I think that's the plateau. And if more agents can just start to look at how do I involve in this business? How do I innovate? Right? Because as we know, business is 2 things. You're either innovating or marketing. There's only 2 ways to really grow a business. So are you innovating to find a way to get your business better? And are you really taking a look at what are you practicing? Is it still the same thing that you're doing 10 years from now? Are you still doing the same thing you were doing 5 years from now?
Right.
Because if you are, there's a direct correlation to your production, and there's a direct correlation to your income.
Right. No, 100%. You got to be finding new ways to like you said, innovate,
Always.
do the new things that nobody's doing, or do more of what works.
Right, exactly. And I just see too many people getting stuck there. So it's interesting. It's interesting how that's evolving.
If you're listening to this podcast, then my guess is you're interested in real estate investing. Some of you are just starting out, while others are trying to scale their business to the next level. But the problem is, with so much information out there, most people don't know which program or coach to trust. Well, I'm a bit biased, but I believe my company, Future Flipper, can help you get to the next level. We've coached thousands of students from all over the world on how to build their real estate investing business. It doesn't matter whether you want to flip, wholesale, or buy rentals. Our coaching program has everything you need to become a great investor. There are many things that we include with coaching, but to give you a few examples, you're going to get an accountability coach. These are people that have had success in their own business, and they want to make sure that you achieve success in yours. We also have all of our documents, our systems, and processes that I've used to buy hundreds of homes. You can copy and paste them directly into your own business. And we have events where you get to meet me, top-level guest speakers, and other students who are crushing it. My students do deals with each other, and I personally do deals with them too. In fact, at a recent event, I just honored over 20 people in our program that made over $1 million in the last year. So if you want to grow your real estate business, head over to futureflipper.com and apply for a call with our team. The call is completely free, and they can help point you in the right direction whether you work with us or not. So go to futureflipper.com and book your call today. For the last year, the real estate market has been on absolute fire. Prices are at all-time highs, interest rates are at all-time lows, and there is more money in the economy than ever. But with so much competition, many investors are sitting on cash, struggling to find great deals. If this sounds like you, then you need to invest with Pineda Capital. With my network and social media following, we get access to the best real estate deals all over the country. And if you're an accredited investor, you can invest with me on those deals. In fact, last year we purchased a 334-unit apartment complex in Georgia for almost $20 million. We expect it to be worth well over $30 million when it's all said and done. Our goal with each deal is to build in so much equity from the beginning that we're able to refinance our investors' cash out and own the properties together with little to no money into the deal. And the best part is, you don't have to do anything. Our team will find the deals, handle the renovations, get them leased, and eventually refinanced or sold. All you have to do is provide the capital. So if you want exclusive access to our deals before they hit the public, go to pinedacapital.com to schedule a call. We can put your money to work today to start getting you great returns. So go to pinedacapital.com now to get access to our deals. So, okay, you go as this real estate agent, and you're killing it as a young, low 20s. What happens after that?
Yeah, so killing as a real estate agent, thought I got it all figured out. Like, I got this. Right? I'm 25 years old. I got this. So I come up with this brilliant idea, me and a few other individuals, to open up an office in Orange County, California. Now, I knew that that's where I was going, right? I knew I was going to Orange County. I created that vision when I was young. I knew that's where I was going. And then this idea comes up of, well, let's go create a brokerage. So we moved, my wife and I moved. We were in Rancho Cucamonga at the time. We moved to Aliso Viejo, which is South Orange County. And what's interesting, Ryan, is right before we move, I have about $4 million in escrow. And I'm counting on that $4 million to close, right? So we move. The day we move, the next day, all deals fall out. All the $4 million gone, right? So in my mind, I'm like, freaking out. I'm not telling this to my wife because she's going to have her in panic mode.
Right.
So we then open this brokerage and we dump all of our cash into it. It was the most eye-opening experience of my entire life because I realized what I didn't want to do, right? We opened this brokerage, and within 3 years, we become the number one brokerage in South Orange County. Oh, I'm sorry. We become the number one brokerage in our little area. We get to 60 agents, right? We get to 60 agents within the first 3 years, and we're crushing it. And I realized that this is not really what I want to do. I'm doing a lot of managing. I'm doing a lot of recruiting. It's really not fueling my personal business.
Right.
So in 2019, I made the decision to shut it down, and we went from a traditional brokerage, and we opened up a wholesale company in Dana Point, California, and that's where we're at today. But I want to touch on the brokerage real fast because we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And I think that a lot of us have to I think that we have to learn and to trust our intuition, because deep down inside, I knew that that wasn't the right move. I had all the right the people around me, that my mentors that were telling me not to do it, but I was listening to certain individuals. I was going down a path that was really confusing. And for all of us that are listening, for those of you that maybe you're doing something right now that just isn't really feeling right, you're really not feeling it, your intuition is telling you something's off, you guys take action on that, because I got stuck in a world that I believe I would be 10 times further ahead had I not opened that brokerage. I think that I would have gotten into real estate investing. I would have been buying property. I would have been flipping so much more. I mean, we started flipping at the same year.
Right.
I would have been flipping way more real estate. I would have been making way more money. But I got caught in this little box, if you would say, and I knew it wasn't the right move. I knew it. I felt it. Every single day I felt it. But for some reason, I had a hard time breaking out of that, and it cost me a lot of time. And for those of you guys that are doing something that's not feeling good, trust your intuition, because that intuition is the voice within. It's the God-like within that is telling you something, and we got to listen to it. It took me 3 years to listen to it, man. 3 years.
Do you think you felt that way before you ever opened it?
Absolutely. But I was listening to people. I was listening to the wrong people. I was guided by the wrong people, I believe. I don't think that – I believe that they had my best interest in heart, but –
it was their vision.
It was their vision. It was what they wanted to do.
Right.
It was their business. And when I look back at it, I never grew me. I was starting a YouTube channel that I actually had to stop because our production at the office was down, and I had to get back into recruiting.
You were already thinking about YouTube back in 15.
I was doing YouTube videos in 15. We had one that was taking off, dude. I knew where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
But the problem was that I was in this little box, and I wish I broke out of it sooner.
What do you think allowed you to finally be like, I'm done with this?
I got to the point where enough was enough, and I saw so many investors like you killing it at a completely different level. And the moment I saw that, there was some sirens in my mind that just said, that was it.
Yeah.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
It's not this, it's that. And the moment I saw it, it instantly changed, dude. I went home. I told my wife, it was at Business Mastery where I saw it. I was at Business Mastery, and I witnessed money that I've never seen before. I witnessed production that I've never seen before. I went home and I said, we're shutting down the brokerage. And my wife looks at me and she goes, thank God.
I've been waiting for you to say that.
Thank God. She goes, you knew that wasn't the right move. And you knew it all along. And she goes, I'm a little upset that it took so long, but I'm proud that it's now happening.
Yeah.
And dude, we literally, the next day, I sent an email and said, I'm sorry.
I'm out.
And I got escorted out of the office. It was a big ordeal.
Really?
Oh yeah. It was a big ordeal, but I'm so glad I did it, because it took us into the investment world. And it was a journey.
Well, you know what's crazy about that is, even though you weren't enjoying it, there was definitely a prestige that you had being a part of it, right? You're like, man, we're like the top brokerage in this big city. Like, so I'm sure there was other battles going on where you're like, well, I don't want to leave it because this may or may not be like my status or identity, and all that stuff. And, it's funny, you're talking about, shutting down your brokerage, and I recently just shut mine down, last month. And the brokerage business is interesting. It's just like, there's so many things to it. But I've realized, for me at this point in my career, I would rather help agents become investors, become, better at social media. And, I have nothing against realtors. Like, in fact, I want to see them succeed, because there's so many better ways to do it than knocking 100 doors a day.
Yep.
And so I'm trying to do all that. And for those of you who are liking, if you're a realtor too, we have a program called Wealthy Agent that's completely free as well. So if you go to wealthyagent.io, you can join that. So, okay, you go into wholesale. Okay, what happens?
So we go into wholesale. I met Nick in 2017.
Nick's your partner.
Nick's my partner in the wholesale business. Nick comes to me and he goes, dude, let's create a wholesale company. And I'm like, I was already doing a couple of wholesales by myself. And I'm like, all right, well, let's roll the dice. Let's see what happens. So that was right when we shut down the brokerage. We opened up wholesale office, and I turned on flipping. We start killing it on flips, take it from doing like 9 a year, instantly get to 30, which was awesome. And then the wholesale company slowly grew. We did 50 transactions, then we did 80 transactions, and then last year we did 102 transactions in Southern California, and which was awesome, right? It was cool.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. I was having this conversation with Nick. We wanted to get to 100K so bad a month. Like 100K was the focus, right? 100K, 100K, 100K. And now we're at 100K a month. And when we don't see 100K a month, dude, we're literally pissed off. He called me the other day. He's like, why are you, he's going on about why aren't we at 100K? Why aren't we at 100K?
Yeah.
And I start laughing. I go, dude, do you remember when 100K was like the goal? Like we couldn't wait to get to $100,000 a month, right? And now it's like an issue if we don't.
Right.
And I'm assuming it's levels, right? Because I look at you and I'm sure that that's a completely different number. So it was cool to see the way that the wholesale game took off. But I want to say this: if it wasn't for the routine, if it wasn't for the rituals that I established early on, I don't think that we would have had the trajectory that we did.
Right.
Because all of that played a role. And the networking that I did as an agent, all of the other agents that I met, all the other brokers, all the other coaches, they all supported that wholesale company. At the moment we created the wholesale company, do we get, 50% of our business is referrals.
There you go, dude.
From real estate agents, from other people that I've helped. And ever since I started learning how to produce, ever since I started learning little things that help take my life to the next level, I instantly started sharing them with others. And as I started sharing, I noticed not only did I get better, but I was inspiring someone else. And those people, till this day, still send us deals. And they're super grateful for it. And I'm grateful for them, and I love to see how they took their life to the next level.
Yeah.
And what was cool, Ryan, and this is important because you talked about what made you what was the shift in the brokerage? The biggest shift in the brokerage was I saw so many agents, so many new agents fail at this business. The success rate is what? 10%, less than 10% of agents that actually kill it.
Yep.
You have 80% of, you have 20% of the agents in the market that do 80% of the business. And I saw these agents get into the business, knock 100 doors a day, but yet have no food to put on the table.
Right.
Have no paychecks, right? Or they're counting on their center of influence and they'll do a deal and that's it. They'll do like 4 deals a year. How are you supposed to live off 4 deals a year?
Right.
Right. What is that? $100,000?
If you're making killer checks, yeah.
Before your brokerage takes half of it,
Yeah.
right? So that really inspired me to get out there. And that's why I love what you're doing with the Wealthy Way, man. I love what you're doing with the Wealthy Agent because that's what this industry needs.
Right.
This industry needs that, hey, there is not just a better way, there's a little bit of an easier way, and there is a far more efficient way to do this, right? And I'm so excited to see that grow. And for all of you agents, that I wish I had that early on, man, because I think the trajectory would have been much different.
Yeah.
Much, much different.
So tell me about just how you've evolved then as this guy who obviously, like we said, it was great that you built, all those hours of training early on and knocking the doors and grinding and hustling. How did you evolve as time went on?
Yeah. Well, from agent to getting into high end. So as an agent, my name is Adrian Hernandez, but I don't speak Spanish. So it's a little hard for me in Inland Empire, right? Because people would walk up and I'm Hernandez, start talking to me in Spanish, and I'm like, no habla español. Then they get really mad, right?
Yeah.
So I instantly went into high end. So I was just doing regular traditional sales. Then I went into the high end. From the high end, I went into being a manager, recruiter, sales trainer. And then now, I don't really count myself as a wholesaler. I never was a wholesaler per se. I would say I got into investment.
Yeah.
That's more of what I call it. Doing flips. And now the focus is buying property.
Right.
How many units can I buy? And for all of us, it's an evolution process, right? Why did Blockbuster go out of business? Because they failed to evolve, right? Why did companies like Nokia go out of business? They failed to evolve. And I think for all of us, it is important that we either, just like nature, grow or die. And there's no other way around it. And we're either evolving or our business will remain stagnant. And so now I'm excited to see, because the flipping game is awesome and being an investor is awesome, but I want to really go now, how do I evolve to like content creator? How do I do more of how do I create more businesses? How do I be more of a innovator, more of a visionary innovator, creating bigger businesses that can help support the other businesses based off what I'm learning for you.
Yeah.
You're really inspiring me, man, for that next evolution process. I want to thank you.
Yeah,
for
I
that, 'cause
appreciate
it's
that.
exciting
Man.
to see.
I appreciate that, dude. As the world starts to go more digital, you need to be aware of which businesses are going to thrive in the future. One of the obvious ones is e-commerce. In fact, last year, e-commerce sales did over $4 trillion globally, and it's continuing to grow. Now, if you're like most people, you probably don't have time to learn a whole new industry and start a new business. But there is another way. You could partner with us at Lunar Ecom. We have over 300 e-commerce stores that we have created and managed for our clients. And the best part is, it's completely passive on their end. The business model is very simple. You cover the cost of creating and running the store. We handle everything else. We pick the products, we handle fulfillment, returns, and customer satisfaction. After all that, we split profits at the end of the month. This means that when you win, we win. If you want to learn more about how it works, you can watch our case study at lunarecom.com. I believe that the e-commerce space is going to continue to explode as the world goes digital. So make sure you're with the right partner who's going to be ahead of those trends. So go schedule a call with my team today at lunarecom.com if you want to learn about how we can start taking your passive income to the moon. Most people want to get rich at all costs. They make sacrifices with their family, their health, and their faith, all in the pursuit of money without even realizing it. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be that way? What if you could grow your wealth in all areas of life? Well, it's possible, and that's why I created The Wealthy Way. It's a community of people striving to grow together in all areas. And we have multiple tools for you to use that are completely free. You can get access to the Wealthy Way Planner, where you can set goals and hold yourself accountable on a daily basis. We also have our Wealth Builder Academy, which is over 4 hours of content teaching you how to manage your time, create the right goals, and all the biggest secrets I've used to grow my life, not only in my net worth, but in all aspects. Lastly, we have our Discord community where thousands of wealth builders are all over the world encouraging one another and growing together. And once again, all of this is completely free. There are no upsells, there are no hidden catches. For me, this is a passion project and I want to build a community of like-minded people. So if you want to start living the wealthy way today, go to wealthyway.com. There you can get all the free resources like the course, planner, and Discord community. So go to wealthyway.com. So content side, tell me about that. Like, what's the plan?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I saw Ryan do TikTok videos, so I did a bunch of TikTok videos, right? But I'm noticing that's a little interesting right now because I'm noticing everybody's doing the reels. But for content, my whole goal is I want to just inspire the younger generation, man.
Yeah.
I want to inspire the 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-olds that were where I was, right? And I want to create content that is driven around that. And my whole goal with the whole content creation is I love helping people. I believe that there's a gift that I have to really inspire, impact, and help other people.
Right.
And I think it would be a disservice to God if I didn't utilize that.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I think content creation is the way that I can do that.
Yeah. Yep. I say that a lot. You know, it's like we all have our talents and we all have the certain amount of time we have on earth. Only God knows what that time is. And so it's like, man, we better make sure we're using that time efficiently and the best productive way because at the end of the day, when life's over, it's like you have to answer for how you chose to live it.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. And as I said yesterday, I think one of the biggest fears as Ed Milet brought to my attention was getting to the end of your life and meeting the person that you could have became because you chose not to take certain actions. You chose not to sign up for certain masterminds. You chose to not evolve.
right.
And that's, to me, I think that would be the ultimate failure.
Yeah, 100%. So what's the goal for this year then? I mean,
$5 million.
$5 million, just
$5
wholesale, flip, just crush it.
$5 million net.
Yeah.
That's the goal. Yeah, I got to get to $5 million this year. Because if I can get to $5 million, well, when we get to $5 million this year, that would take us on a trajectory to do $15 million next year, based on what I'm learning from you and
So
what we're implementing.
Tell me about how you would get there, though. What would you be doing differently? How are you evolving?
Yeah. So the first thing we did is we Southern California, for those of you in Southern California, there's a cap to SoCal, right? Unless you're spending hundreds and thousands of dollars in marketing. Right. So the first thing we're doing is we are taking our marketing budget up. We're going to get a little creative, right? Go on TVs. I mentioned big rigs yesterday, right? As far as marketing. But we're going to different states. So we're going to Georgia. We're going to Texas. And we're starting to go more nationwide with with the wholesale operation. For the flipping operation, now it's just more capital, right? Because we have the deals. It's just getting more capital. Right. So now the evolution is, okay, contacting all of our past clients, contacting all the coaches that I know, and hey, how can we get money? How can we raise some capital to start doing some more deals?
Right.
And then the next evolution process, and I think this is, for me, something that's really like inspiring. That evolution process is reaching out to and finding the newer agents. So like on our team, we have someone that's going in, looking at people that are just licensed and starting to market to those new licensees right when they get their license.
Oh, interesting.
And get them to see how we can help them right off the jump before they start going down rabbit holes of other.
Yeah. You want to train them to find deals, and you guys can partner up and do stuff together.
Right away.
Yeah.
Right when they get into the business. So they're learning early on what they can do.
Right.
And we're not, the way I see this is I'm not going to create a big, I'm not here to create a coaching program. I just want to find some people we can help, and they send us deals, and we do deals with them, and we can do that for 1,000 people, 2,000 people. I think the return on referrals would be pretty big.
Well, you already said it. I mean, half your business is already referrals, right? And I know a lot of different wholesalers who use that strategy of just, like, the strategy is spend money to network better.
Yeah.
And we've done a poor job of that, I'll admit. We used to be very good at networking, but as my social media grew and, focusing on different businesses and things, we kind of let that go because I just don't really have time to do it. And I'm busy like doing a whole bunch of other things. And when I do have free time, I don't want to network because I'd rather just hang with my family. Like, I don't have to do it anymore. And my team hasn't really taken it on themselves to go out there and do it because, they're like, Ryan, we should hold like a free meetup. And I was like, guys, do you know if like I post a free meetup, it's going to be
hundreds,
huge.
Yeah.
We won't even have a venue. And I was like, and also too, like, you do it.
Right.
Why do I have to do it?
Right.
Anybody can go hold a free meetup. And you text me that the other day. I think it was maybe 2 months ago on one of our calls. I was like, you guys should hold free meetups because it's going to lead to deals. And then I think you took action immediately, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We did a little like seminar meetup, and dude, it was awesome, man. We got 15 deals, 16 deals from it.
16 deals from one meetup.
From one meetup. Yeah. From referrals.
And that was just from being inspired on one call to go start a meetup.
To go implement it.
There you go, dude. You can cut me your check whenever.
I got you, dude.
I'll take it, dude.
Got you.
No, that's great. And that's a quick tip for you guys. I seriously love that tip, because most people, myself included, are like, okay, how do we raise the marketing budget? How do we raise the TV budget? And it's like, if you just spend a couple grand, you don't even need to spend a couple grand, but even if you just spent $2,000 to hold a meetup,
right,
the return will be really good.
Way through. Yep. And to that point, I think a lot of us, you touched on this over the weekend, when you get an idea, take action on that idea. Right? Immediately. Don't let it sit. I have a little bit of a bad habit of letting some ideas sit. And had I just implemented them right away, the trajectory is always different when we implement it. I wish I would implement that earlier. So now it's the moment I get a thought, implement it. Yesterday I got a thought, immediately text the assistant. We need to get on this right away.
Right.
So now it's just more action. And then to your other point on evolving, just want to touch on this real quick, is hiring more people.
Yeah.
Getting more help. I was trained to do it all by yourself, right? Grind, you got it. You can do it by yourself. But the Eiffel Tower was not built by one person, and it takes a team of individuals.
Yeah.
So that evolution stage will come from COOs, getting operations managers, project managers, and really finding a way to just free up some more time so I can go create and inspire and
do
move
things you
people.
like.
Yeah, exactly.
So how has your routine changed now? Because I know you're a big routine guy. You still have a morning routine, I assume. Like, what does it look like today?
Yeah, so instead of me reading scripts and chanting, scripts, I still do my affirmation. So wake up in the morning, go to the gym.
What time are you waking up now?
It's not 4:30 in the morning. It's definitely not 4:30. It's about 5:30.
You've become complacent, dude.
Yeah. Damn it. About 5:30 at the latest. I'm at the gym by 6.
Okay.
At the gym by 6. And right now, it's a lot of reading, dude. I'm reading, listening to really, really good books in the morning. Very similar to you.
Yep.
After the gym, I come home. I write down affirmations. So I write down first thing is 10 things I'm grateful for, right? I immediately want to start the day in gratitude. Then I write down 3 things that made me happy in the last 24 hours. So what are some appreciation things, right? Gratitude and appreciation, 2 separate energies. So appreciation, 3 things that I appreciate. What happened this morning? What happened last night? What happened yesterday? And it can be work-related or family-related, right? Or personal-related. And then I write down an I am earning statement. So every day I write down, I am earning $10 million. I am earning $10 million. I am earning $10 million. Just programming the RAS, what they call it, the reticular activity sensory portion of the brain. It's what tells you what you're focusing on, right? You guys ever thought about a white Porsche and then all of a sudden you see a white Porsche everywhere?
Right.
It's that, whatever you RAS part of your brain. So for me, it's programming that. And right after I do my journal, before my journal, I pray. And then after the journal, I'm listening to YouTube. I'm learning something new. On your podcast quite often.
Here we go. Now you're on, really.
I'm finding ways to get better, more efficient, and evolve. Right now, my biggest thing is, how do I get to the next level? I never want to plateau ever again. Right. So how do I take this to the next level? And in the morning, that's what my time is around. You mentioned the think time, right?
Right.
The book.
The Road Less Stupid.
The Road Less Stupid. There we go. Phenomenal book,
Yeah.
right? Phenomenal book. And there's some questions that are in that book that I ask myself quite often every single day. There's some questions that I sit and ponder on in the morning right before I get into the office to get me in the right state of mind.
Right.
And I do this. If I am not in the right state of mind, I will stay at home until I get into the right state of mind. Because if I'm not in the right state of mind and I walk into the office, I don't care what I do. It's more than likely not going to have enough juice behind it.
Right.
So I'm taking a little bit of time getting myself centered, and then I'm in the office.
Right.
And I have this little trampoline. If I'm really not feeling it, I get on my trampoline. I'm hopping up and down. I'm creating some artificial energy, whatever I need to do to get myself there. And then I'm like, okay, I feel better. Let's go.
I saw, I forget I think it was Tony Robbins. Doesn't he do that?
Yeah. I've been to all of Tony's events. So,
you're just, Tony's your guy.
So for me, it's a lot of it, affirmations. Like that affirmation I said was from Tony.
Yeah.
I actually had the opportunity to go to UPW at 19 when I got into the business.
What is UPW?
Unleash the Power Within. It's where you walk on fire.
Oh, wow.
And it just shattered every limiting belief I had, dude. And so ever since then, I've just been pretty connected to Tony, and it's helped.
So Tony got you on the trampoline.
Tony got me on the trampoline.
Do you have the trampoline in the office?
I have a trampoline in the office. Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're just like standing on there, in a meeting, just jumping on the trampoline.
No, before the meeting. So before the meeting, I'm big on like good energy, right? I'm really big on good energy. So I want to radiate good energy when I'm talking to my team. So especially if we're holding a meeting, which thank you, because I'm not doing any more damn meetings. Appreciate it. But before we hold the meeting, right, I would hop on the trampoline, get myself pumped up, and walk out. And early on, I always had. Everybody would always say, dude, you have good energy. Why you got good energy, right? And it's not hype, right? A lot of us, we can't confuse this. It's not hype. It's just aligning yourself to where when you walk in, other people can feel that.
Yeah.
You've done it. You've interviewed enough people and been around enough people. When people are vibrating here and people are vibrating here, right? When you vibrate here, you attract a lot into your life, a lot of good stuff into your life. When you vibrate down here, you wonder why you spill your coffee. You wonder why there's traffic. You wonder why the person hit you. You wonder why the deal fell out. Because a lot of it is that energy that we carry. So in my mind, it's how do I just have the best energy? How can I walk into any situation with the best energy? How do I walk into that appointment? When I go home, 10 minutes before I walk into the house, right? Sit in the car, center myself, leave the stuff outside. So when I walk in, I can give my wife who I am.
Right.
Not all the stuff that happened throughout the day.
Right. I feel you on that, man. So as we start to wrap up, man, I want to hear your one takeaway from this week. You know, you spent the last 2 days golfing with some really high level people. You mentioned a couple of the things already throughout the interview that you kind of took away, but I want to know, for someone who didn't go, what was your biggest takeaway?
Simplicity. Keeping it super simple. I don't think, I know and believe that 99% of us overcomplicate 100% of the things. And if we can just simplify, and as you said, you get an idea, take action on it, right? That's how easy it is. Step one, step two, not I get an idea. Well, who's going to show up? Well, how are we going to do it? Well, how much does it cost? Well, and you start looking at all these other things, just take the action. I learned, based on understanding and learning the way you think, you just keep things really simple and you take action immediately. Am I right?
Yeah, no, you're right.
And that was my biggest takeaway, because I believe that there are some things that I do that it's going to change. I'm shattering the belief. There are some things that I do that I overcomplicate, and there's a reason why we don't have as much juice behind it. There's a reason why it doesn't do as much.
The momentum or the speed at which you want to do it. But look, I mean, somebody actually mentioned this. I forgot who it was, but they were saying, you know, yeah, we're all talking about how we can be better, but like, let's also have some gratitude for like what we've accomplished.
Yeah,
I forgot who said that at the mastermind, but you know, it's true. It was like, man, you know, what you've accomplished is so crazy. But I've interviewed a lot of high level people, and they all kind of still have the same mindset that you're saying. It's like, yeah, you know, we've accomplished a lot, but I ain't stopping, you know? So how do I get to the next level?
Yep.
And it's like that constant drive to succeed and get better is like what allowed you to move so fast in the first place.
Right.
But now you're like, how can I move even quicker?
Yes, exactly. How do we go from 5 million to 30 million?
Yeah.
Not 5 to 6.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And you guys, this is important. When you're around people like Ryan who think that way, you're going to start to think that way, because it's the transfer of energy, right? That transfer of thought. Before, 5 years ago, if you were to ever say, oh, hey, you know it's possible you can go from 5 to 20. Do you even know that's possible? Dude, I'd be like, what are you talking about? What? Selling real estate, door knocking? You're crazy. There's no way. Yeah. But then being around minds, right? Joining masterminds, being around certain people, getting yourself into bigger rooms, knowing that you're not the smartest person in the room. When I'm in certain rooms, I tend to not talk at all, because I don't know. I want to learn as much as I can. Right? I want to close this and open these. There's a reason why God gave us one mouth and 2 ears.
Right.
Right? Not 2 mouths, 1 ear. Right? We need to listen more than we talk.
Yeah.
Right? And so for me, it's let's get around a bunch of high-level individuals and let's take that mindset to the next level. If you thought 1 million was big, what about 10? If you thought 10 was big, what about 100? If you thought 100 was big, what about 1 billion?
Yeah. And that's kind of the whole premise of Cardone's 10X rule. Like, that's what made him famous, thinking that way. And I remember I read that book a long time ago when I don't even think I had made 100,000 in a year yet. And I read it and I said, that is a good way of thinking. Like, it's such unfathomable thinking of like, man, if you just made your first million, you're like killing it. Now you're like 10 million. How the heck am I going to do that?
Exactly.
You know, and to go from 10 to 100, you're like, how the heck could I go from 10 to 100? It's crazy.
Yep. Omar and I were having the conversation last night.
Yeah.
Like, dude, do you remember the level of thinking that we had? Because we were in the same network, right?
Right.
Do you remember that level of thinking? He's like, dude, to know that I can go from, he was talking about units, right? He's like, to know that I can go from this to hundreds of units. But if we surround ourselves with the same people, if we continue to do the same things, if we continue to hang around the same crowds, then what is normal will always remain normal.
Right.
And unless we get around people like you, dude.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty hard, guys.
Well, dude, I'm proud of you for everything you've accomplished, man. It's awesome to have you in the coaching program too. So, guys, if you want to meet Adrian, dude, just join the coaching program.
Yeah.
Futureflipper.com. He's there. He's freaking at every event, and he has a good time at the events. I'll just leave it at that. He likes to hang out and network really hard. I'll call it that. But, yeah, guys, make sure you follow Adrian. He's got great content, too, by the way. We didn't touch on that, but he's making some really inspiring stuff. This guy's been making YouTube videos since 2015, so he loves that side. And if you didn't understand it by now, he's really into helping people. So, dude, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah,
this is
dude.
awesome, man. Thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, man. So, guys, make sure you're subscribed to this channel, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Thanks for watching The Ryan Pineda Show. If you want to work with me, head over to ryanpineda.com. You can find my courses, coaching programs, and upcoming events. We also have free resources you can download, so head over to ryanpineda.com.